You know that in screaming, stomping, standing ovations, sold-out concerts from coast to coast, 9 solid gold albums, 4 platinum albums, international fame on stage and on the air, both radio and television. For over 10 years, Seals and Crofts were the living example of multifaceted success. In 1980, they dissolved their musical partnership, but not their friendship. They've always enjoyed a very elastic relationship of, what the hell am I talking about?
An elastic relationship.
This sounds very bizarre. We'll just pick it up from there. Multifaceted success. It's a pleasure today to welcome Seals and Crofts together. Hi there.
Hi, Burl. How you doing, kiddo?
You fellows have always seemed to enjoy an interesting interrelationship musically of being not only well-known as an entity of Seals and Crofts, but influencing others and performing with others.
Yes, Burl, we've had a lot of freedom within our association together to do recording sessions for other people, to write songs for other people. You know, if we hear somebody that we think could do a certain kind of song that we have, we'll send it to them. So we've been like 2 single artists within the group, and I think it's been the reason that we've been together for so long.
Well, from the current standpoint of your collective careers, it must be rather like standing on a mountaintop looking at the world, if I may steal one of your lines. You can see the
see
the peaks and the valleys. In the very beginning, and you fellows have been together a long time, did you ever catch a glimmer of the things you would accomplish? Did you ever foresee the degree of success you'd have in this industry?
Well, yes. I think the first night that we played together as Seals and Crofts, that we knew that we had a style of music that was different. We didn't know whether it would be...
We didn't know
we didn't know whether it would be accepted or not by the masses, but we knew that we liked it. And we had been told by several people that, you know, that it was different and that we had a certain look, you know, as people. And so we had a pretty good idea that we had a good chance. But getting airplay on that kind of material at that time wasn't easy.
Well, it seems that there are so many people out there who play guitars or mandolins or who write songs and sing who's saying, how can I do that? I mean, how did you go from doing whatever you were doing before to getting a recording contract, getting hit records, getting international tours? How in the world did you ever put it together?
It has a lot to do with with timing and who you're associated with at the time. Plus, I think people ask us that a lot. How do you get started in this business? And at first we were completely dumbfounded. We didn't know what to say to somebody like that because we were in a field, not a booking field or not a career building field, but in our own particular situation. But we found that really the best way, I think, for people to be exposed to the media and other people is a showcase where you put your material together and you play someplace where they can come in and hear you. That if you're not out there, they're never going to hear you, you know. And you can send in tapes all day long and they'll file them in the wastebasket usually. But
yeah, it's a good idea though to put your songs on tape, you know, the best version that you can, and you know, keep it with you and make several copies of it. I think sometimes it doesn't hurt to send it. Most of the time though, you have it, you'll send it to a record company or something. It might lay there for 6 or 8 months.
But the idea is to actually be out there where people can see you and hear you and you can talk to people, because if you're not, it's much harder.
Speaking of seeing and hearing you, I think many people were rather surprised when they did see and hear you to see what you were doing with a mandolin. Mandolins aren't usually considered a contemporary instrument or a rock instrument per se. How did you happen to decide to pick that up?
Well, because I was playing drums at the time we started writing together and doing songs and collaborating on different things, and it was difficult to write melodies on the drums.
Yeah, that is a very typical problem.
Right. But my brother happened to have a mandolin on his wall as an ornament, and there were strings on it, and so I took it off the wall and started playing with it, you know, using that as the melodies and so forth, and liked the way it sounded and consequently continued to use it. That's probably one of the reasons that the style that we played was unusual, because I was never oriented in bluegrass or country or any of that. I was
literally off the wall.
Yeah, literally off the wall, right.
Do you remember the first tune that you fellows wrote together as Seals and Crofts?
The think it was Years of Bach. No, that was
See My Life, I think, was
See My Life. Yeah,
was probably the first one that we wrote.
And you recorded that on your. Do you remember how that goes at all?
it
Let's
goes.
see. It's in the key of G. Let's see. Oh, you rush to and fro to attain, though you dwell upon the shore. I forget the words. Anyway, that's kind of the direction. Yeah.
Basic idea. So that was kind of the feel. Then was kind of a folk with movement to it.
Yeah, it was a combination of folk and bluegrass, and
Yeah.
and then it has a section later on where it goes into a rock section.
What as far as the rock influence? What things were you into there? I mean, you were both previously in other groups apparently. Dash on drums and you on whatever.
Yeah. Well, we started out playing in nightclubs. As he said before, he was a drummer and I was a sax player. So we played blues and we played a little bit of jazz and, R&B, all different kinds of music as background. And usually if you're playing in a club band, you have to learn the top 10 in order, to keep playing. And you try to throw in some original material here and there.
To be current, as they say.
Yeah.
Oh yes, current.
So we did all that.
Well, what made the difference in your life that you went from, shall we say, being a contemporary bar band, top 40 groups and that sort of thing, to striking out with a guitar and mandolin and kind of a folk-oriented, semi-rock-oriented group, which was basically a whole new direction for you? What prompted you to do that?
Well, one of the things was that we had been playing saxophone and drums in a band, and of course, I was learning to play the guitar at the same time that he was learning the mandolin, and we had never tried to express ourselves in depth lyrically. So this allowed us a chance to write lyrics and send tunes to other people, and get involved in that end of it, whereas before we had just been background musicians.
There was a feeling that we both had simultaneously, and that was to get away from the really loud, tense music that we had been involved in here and there, because we were in a mood like a lot of other people in the country were at the time, of a meditative, relaxed, mellow kind of a mood. And that's why we started fooling with this music in the first place, is to do something that was soothing to us.
Mm-hmm.
Consequently, Crosby, Stills, Nash, James Taylor, everybody else was beginning to happen at the same time, and so it just became a feeling of a lot of people at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You received a lot of excellent exposure when you played, for example, as opening act of many major groups such as the Steve Miller Band. I believe in, 1969, you played as opening act for Steve Miller during one of his first or secondary waves of success, as he continually has. How did people tend to react to you on that first major tour like that?
Oh, they loved it. They thought it was completely, like you said, off the wall. It was a unique approach to rock and roll, and they considered us rock and rollers, from a soft point of view, because it's basically what we were doing. We were playing rock in a soft way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were working with War and Burton and Chicago,
Chicago.
all these other groups, and here's these hard rock groups out there, and here's Jimmy and I playing with these two little instruments, and they thought, hey, this is really different, So I think they were thrilled that there was something different happening, unique.
You seem to generate a great deal of excitement in the yeah. Okay. Jimmy, you want to say something about becoming a Baha'i and that time of your life?
We had taken our music on the drums and the saxophone and had been through all kinds of music, as I said before, and we had taken it as far as we could go with it at that particular time. And so we became members of the Baha'i Faith at that time, which, gave us many different ideas and things to express ourselves, taught us how to express ourselves. And also at that time we said, well, we don't care about making money on music or anything anymore. We wanted to approach it as an art form. And so we began to write songs that expressed the spiritual nature.
We had a lot of feelings inside that we wanted to speak, and we thought music was a good form to use to speak with too. And so we began to use the music as an expression of our inner feelings too.
Seems to be a lot of that on your first two albums, the ones that were on TA and I guess later re-released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the initial thrust. We got out a lot of feelings and thoughts and vibes on those things.
Some songs on there like "See My Life," which we played a few licks of there a few moments ago. Matter of fact, I believe that's the first cut on the very first album, isn't it?
I believe it is, yes. Yeah. There's something that happens to everyone who becomes aware of their Creator, and it's a special time. It's like the springtime of your spiritual existence or birth, and that's what happened to us. All of a sudden, we were taken from very narrow vision, and our vision became more or less aware of other things in the world, other directions that were possible in music and in all kinds of things. So that feeling was expressed in most of the songs on the first two albums.
Mm-hmm. See if I can think of some of the refresh my memory with some of these titles of particular tunes. Maybe we'll get into a few of them. "See My Life" is one. "Hollow Reed," which was on the second album, was always a very interesting tune.
Yeah, that was a favorite of ours. Dash and I had finished the one album, and we started our material for the second album. We went up to a place in California called Big Bear, and there's a place there where you can crawl up on the top of the mountain, and there's rocks where the wind and rain have hollowed out these holes. And so we got right out on the point, and we laid down, both of us, in one of these holes and just looking at the sky. And we actually went to sleep listening to the wind blowing through the trees, and it sounded like, it reminded us of a giant reed, and that the wind of God was blowing through this. And so it recalled to mind a prayer in the Baha'i writings called the Hollow Reed. It says, "Make me as a hollow reed from which the pith of self hath been blown, so that I may become a pure channel through which thy love may flow to others." And so that came back to us and resulted in song.
The song "Cottonmouth" doesn't seem to have quite these spiritual implications as some of the other ones, and yet
that's the southern nature coming out.
Yeah, it's a little diversity there. A lot of people really are crazy about that song, "Cottonmouth," and it's been re-recorded by other groups as well.
Well, it was kind of a unique approach to recording, because we had written the song and had been playing it all the way through, and after recording some of the other songs, we decided that we needed a unique approach to it. So John Simon, our producer at that time, went over and put a cigarette lighter down on the organ key or something, and this tone started. And we said, well, why don't we do that? So he put it on there, and it started, and we did it just rhythmically, and then we took the whole band and put them on one track and overdubbed the little musical figure that happens to give it the punch in different places.
Everybody just came in whether they felt like it.
John Hall went in and overdubbed a great guitar solo.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Very creative things happened in that at that recording date.
Going to the other extreme, we have songs such as "Sea of Consciousness," which sounds like pretty heady stuff.
In the sea of consciousness. Oh, yeah, that's I remember that one? That. That was a kind of a mystical feeling, too, for us. Mm-hmm. We had felt like there has to be something before this. I mean, there has to be some pre-existence somewhere, because we're all individuals, and so we kind of pictured pre-existence as one big soul, or
ocean.
one ocean of souls, before at the moment of conception becomes an individual soul. So the title of the song became "The Sea of Consciousness."
So we're all drops from the same ocean.
Yeah.
Some of us are drips, some of us are drops.
Right. But it's like, one drop in the ocean has all the qualities of the entire ocean, and so we kind of feel like that's the way the souls are before they become an individual. They're all drops from one sea of consciousness.
Go from drops of consciousness to drops of milk. Yeah, milk the cows of gladness.
Well, we discovered in the Baha'i writings that Baha'u'llah uses several different modes of writing, and one of them is metaphors. He refers to the manifestations of God as being day springs. Well, day is light. Spring is where the water or the light comes forth. So they are the places where the new knowledge is created or revealed to man. And so we got onto this style of writing through our exposure to the writings, And we used the cows of gladness as a metaphor to express that the kind of gladness is gentle gladness. It says, milk the cows of gladness before they all go dry. In other words, to be happy if you can.
One of my favorites from your early albums is a song called Earth. Do you remember writing that one?
Yeah.
My mother, no other. Let's see.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
My sanctuary.
My sanctuary. That was fun. That was a good song to sing.
Yeah. It's been so long since we've sang those songs. It's hard to recall all the lyrics to it.
That was a song that we did on our very first appearance anywhere, which was in, I think, was in
Pasadena at the Ice House.
At the Ice House in Pasadena.
Did you get a cold reception at the Ice House, or were they warm?
No, it was not icy at all. As a matter of fact, they had hot apple juice there and kept everybody loaded on hot cider. But that was an interesting place because it was, the acoustics there are so good you can hear a pencil drop on the floor and it hurts your ears. So we didn't have any mics or anything. We were just playing to a live audience, and it was a real interesting, intimate feeling there.
What prompted you to write the song Earth?
Well, again, we were thinking along the lines of we're born on this earth, we can't get off of it. It's really our mother. As far as the physical part of us, it's also our tomb. It's our mortuary. So not to become attached to it, but to enjoy it and to realize, to be thankful that we're here.
And don't have wars over the 6 feet of ground you're going to be buried in anyway.
Correcto.
Yeah. After the first couple albums, you changed record labels and went over to Warner Brothers, and things seemed to take a commercial turn for the better around that time.
Well, we also got a chance for the first time to work with Louis Shelton, who produced that album. Actually, he produced the first one. The first one on Warner's after the move was called Year of Sunday, which we recorded in England, and it was the biggest selling album that we had up to that point, and I think reflected more of the perfection of what we were trying to do in the first two. And then, of course, we did the Summer Breeze album, which was produced by Louis, and I think that really made the difference because Louis and Dash and I had worked together, along with our engineer, Joey Bogan. We had all worked in a group together before, and so we were really looking forward to the change. And I think that Louis' awareness of recording, and particularly in his bass lines and, getting the best out of us was what made the difference.
Let's talk a little bit about Summer Breeze, because that was the album and the single that really kind of blew things wide open for you. How did you happen to come up with that? Decided to be a single? What's the story behind Summer Breeze?
Well, on most of our singles, they were what we all felt to be the strongest, best material on the album. Not necessarily the most commercial, because at that point, none of our stuff that we were doing was considered to be commercial. But it was the kind of song that eventually the radio stations made an exception to play it. And when they started playing it, then it got the exposure to the masses and, became a hit.
I remember when that record was released, it seemed to take a long time between its initial release and when it finally caught on.
Well, that was because it was not acceptable to the playlist at that time. It had elements of jazz, it had elements of real tight vocal harmonies, and things that later on, not only we used, but everybody else started using those kind of things, and it was acceptable. But at that time, the record, they couldn't really categorize it, and so it wasn't acceptable to any of the stations. It had elements of several different directions in it.
It wasn't standard operating procedure.
But it managed to become standard playing material for virtually every format of radio station after a while.
Yeah. Well, the people at the record company, that go out to promote the record, that take your record to the radio stations, they came back with the story and said, well, it's been out there for a while, and there's been a little bit of reaction here and there, but they're not really on it. They don't hear it, and so we were kind of ready to give up and come back home, and we had booked into a place called Paul's Mall in Boston. And during that time, we used that as a showcase for the people from the radio station and everybody, to come in and see the group. And so the day before we were to come home, we were supposed to do a radio show on the FM station. And that night, when we did the show, the fellow from the AM disc jockey was there and heard the record, and he said, well, I like that. He said, I'll play it on my show. So that night at 12 o'clock, they go. Their beam is increased to 48 states or something like that. So he played it, and as a result of it, we had gone to several different towns after that. And each place we would go, they were either on the record or they added it while we were there. And so really, with our efforts and Warner's and everything, that we finally got it on the playlist.
Mostly our efforts.
Well, they had done just about everything that they could do, because it was, they wanted to see it happen. They believed in it. They believed in us. And, it was all up to the radio station and to the demand. But at that time, we were drawing maybe 3,500 to 4,500 people a night in our concerts. So they knew that they had a market there for it.
Well, how about if we put some effort into, do you think you could bring some of those amazing elements together? As long as you've got a guitar and a mandolin in your hand, at least give us a refresher course in the basics of Summer Breeze.
All right.
Here comes some of those amazing elements.
Yeah, right.
See the curtains hanging in the window in the evening on a Friday night. Little light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Very nice. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the basic elements of a giant hit record, Summer Breeze, Seals and Crofts. Well, from there, we move on. How do you follow up a big hit like that? I mean, when you finally had a real hit record, USDA certified Grade A Choice Prime, how were you affected? What did you think? Were you kind of nonplussed?
I don't think you're ever prepared for it, really. You want to be accepted, and all of a sudden when you see the record up there, and you drive along in the car and you hear it, and you switch to another station and you hear it, and it kind of catches you off guard. We were, naturally we were thrilled, and then we started thinking about a follow-up, and fortunately we had a follow-up to Summer Breeze on the first album on Warner's, the second album on Warner's, and that was Hummingbird. So fortunately, on most of the albums, we did have two singles that were, both in the same direction.
Which came out first, Hummingbird or Diamond Girl?
Hummingbird.
Hummingbird.
Mm-hmm.
They came out with two versions of that, as I remember. One a short version and one a long version.
Well, I don't think we did a different version for the second.
No, there was an edit.
Well, they might have put one out without the intro.
Yes, that's what they did. Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
maybe that was it.
Yeah. They
Might
just started
have
off
been.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Do you remember any of that one? Any of the basic elements?
Yeah.
Let's do it without the intro. I was up till 6 this morning. So.
Yeah.
So you go.
Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. The sweetness of your nectar is drawing me like a fly. I just love you, love you, love you. I don't even know the reason why. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away, don't fly away.
What was the inspiration for that song? What is that song about?
Well, Hummingbird was a song that we wrote kind of as a prayer of our own and an observation that down through religious history, every time that there has been a prophecy of a manifestation of God to come, people wait for thousands of years. They pray, and they look for all the signs in the prophecies to find out when this manifestation of God will appear. And every time that they do appear and, bring teachings and things, because they're different and because they're not understood, they're persecuted and tortured, and all the things that we know happen to them. And so it was saying like, the world has waited all of these thousands of years for the coming of Baha'u'llah. All of the manifestations before him, like school teachers prepared us for this day, where that we would graduate from nationhood into a world unity, to
maturity.
A maturity, yes, a coming of age of the human race. And yet when Baha'u'llah appeared and brought these teachings, he spent a life of misery, a life of imprisonment. And it's almost like the animal nature in man goes out and kills the manifestation of God and then feeds upon the fruits that he brought, for centuries to come. And so once again, the same thing has happened. And this was a song, to say, look, we're sorry, we've done it again. And, wishing that we could bring back the time, and that Dash and I wish that we could have been alive when Baha'u'llah was here, which was in the 1800s. And,
when that song came out and, of course, became quite a big hit, did people, for the most part, understand that there was a religious or spiritual significance to this song?
Well, I think that there's a separation in people's mind between religion and spiritual. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they think spiritual relates to the Creator and religion relates to what man has created. And they knew that there was something beyond the story of a bird. They knew that it was symbolic and that there was something deeper. And yet people, children, or people, it could be approached on different levels. In other words, anyone could enjoy it and get something out of it.
You're talking about religion being considered what man does and spiritual being what God does. Being as you fellows are both known for being very active in the Baha'i faith, have you encountered on the road and in your personal life that people have preconceived ideas that you're going to be judgmental or holier than thou, or kind of the twin musical prophets of the New Age?
Well, I'm sure they do, because we're programmed in certain ways to react to religion and to other things in a certain way. And the world is confused. Nobody knows what's right, or what people stand for, what they are. But being a Baha'i simply means a follower of the light, a follower of Baha'u'llah. And Baha'u'llah said that wherever the light is shining, whatever is good, whatever elevates the station of man, to seize hold of it and to be attracted to it, to be attracted to unity.
Yeah, I think they're a little surprised when they don't hear us trying to convert them, or trying to or judging them for where they're at in their growth and all that kind of stuff. I know that a lot of people associate those things with religion. That's why they don't want to discuss it, or they don't want to be involved. They don't want to discuss politics or religion.
One thing that we were so excited about, though, is the fact that religion comes from the Latin word religio, which means to unite, simply to unite. And I think that people all over the world feel the need and feel that it's their heritage to feel this new unity. But the channels in which to bring it about, and all of the outworn systems that we have that are kind of standing in the way of it, makes a person say, well, yeah, I don't know what to do. And so what we tried to do through our Baha'i talks and things like this on the road and during our years together was to let people know that there is a standard. If Dash went in one room and tuned his mandolin and I went in another and the bass player goes in another, we all come out and try to play together. We might all be in tune with ourselves, but we won't be in tune with one another. And yet if we take a tuning device or a piano that's tuned to A440 and we sit down and tune to it, there's no harm in that. It only brings about more beautiful things. So when we say standard, we mean a standard in everything that people can relate to and use as a ruler to gauge themselves and to come together.
A common denominator.
Yeah, and actually this is what Baha'u'llah brought, and it's what true religion is.
So you're not talking about sameness. Even when you tune up to the same standard, there's plenty of room for improvisation within the framework of the piece.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm playing a mandolin and he's playing a guitar, and they're entirely two different instruments. But, they work together when they're in tune. It's, by sameness, we exactly what you mean. It's not sameness we're talking about. We're talking about unity in diversity. Mm-hmm. The beauty of unity is the diversity. I mean, my God, we wouldn't want to have a flower garden with all white flowers and they all smell the same. It would be very boring.
Mm-hmm. Music really seems to be the best analogy, because after all, in music, different notes together combine to create a perfect chord, and different tempos and cadences give life to a composition. Do you find it's much the same with people?
Yes. Well, the difference with music, though, is that everyone is in the right attitude. You want to play together, and you want it to sound right, and you're willing. If you're playing a discord, you say, "Wait a minute, I played something that don't fit with what you're doing," and then you sit down and try to work it out together instead of saying you played something wrong. If a person is aware, it's the awareness that what you played didn't fit, or the possibility that it might not, and being willing to change, willing to give. This is the attitude that we're talking about as far as people. This is what we need as a human race.
So to discriminate in our hearts or our minds is to be out of tune.
It's to be out of tune, yes.
Prejudice being discordant,
Right.
disruptive.
Or prejudging.
Yes.
Let's stop and go to the bathroom.
Rolling.
Righto.
Well, being as that your entire life is infused with spirituality, why were you getting off so much on that fight we were watching on television before we came to the
Like
studio?
blood and guts.
Does that seem a bit of a contradiction that people who espouse love and brotherhood are sitting there going, hit him again, hit him again? Kill him! How do you reconcile these divergent aspects of your personality?
Well, we're schizo.
Is that the unity and diversity, two entirely different attitudes towards life?
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Unity, diversity. Yes, the diversity is Hyde and the other is Jekyll.
Are we rolling?
We already have been for
We have
15
been.
minutes.
Well, that is a valid question. How do you reconcile these divergent aspects of your life? On one hand, you pray, you're spiritual, you're very interested in the promotion of your religious beliefs. At the same time, you're a couple of wild and crazy guys.
Right. Well, I guess we're a little out of balance.
Or maybe in balance.
Right.
I don't know how to answer that.
No, we have a higher nature and a lower nature, and we're constantly fighting against those two. That's the force that allows us to grow.
Well, I have a special place in my heart for boxing. I like it, and I think that it's done a lot of good for people. You take a guy.
He didn't ask you that question.
Well, in particular, because we were watching this boxing match together. It's a sport where somebody from off the streets that doesn't have half a chance can make something of their life, and I think it's done a lot of good for a lot of young people. Of course, it's killed a lot too.
No comment.
No,
But they know what it is when they go in there, and they're very well trained, and they're in good condition, and they know it's no worse than football. I think football is probably more dangerous in some ways.
Almost like the music industry, you know what it is going into it. You have to have a certain degree of resiliency. I mean, the world of show business is known for its subcultures and temptations.
Yeah, there's a lot of different elements there, and you have all of the struggle and everything that you have in politics, but no guaranteed 4 years when you win or when you go to office.
Have to campaign with a follow-up hit.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the subject, the follow-up hit to Hummingbird, which we heard a little bit a moment ago, was Diamond Girl.
Right.
It's been said that you can tell a lot about an artist by the way he writes about women. And the subject of women comes up a great deal in your music. Truth is But a Woman, Diamond Girl, Ruby Jean Billy Lee. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, about how you view women and how you think of them, both musically and personally.
Well, women are wonderful, they're beautiful, and I think as artists and writers that we love beautiful things. A lot of things you can express to a woman that you wouldn't express to anyone else. A lot of things about life that you can say that you can use a woman as the object of expression.
There's also, in the world today, an imbalance between the man and woman, and we feel like it's time for the woman to have her rightful place as a contribution to mankind. The prophet founder of the Baha'i faith explains that mankind is as a bird with two wings equally strong. If one is not as strong as the other, it can't fly in a straight path. It flies in a circle. And we feel like it has been out of balance up into this age, and we're beginning to come into the equality of men and women through a heroine by the name of Tahereh, who started the emancipation of women back in the days of Baha'u'llah in the 1800s. She started it by in the country of Persia by taking off her veil, which was an absolute no-no.
Very shocking.
Very shocking. Even to her friends, it was shocking. And when she pulled her veil off, she said, you can kill me, but you can't stop the emancipation of women, because this is the beginning of it.
You can't stop an idea whose time has come.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's time for that in the maturity of mankind. It's time for the equality of men and women.
I assume you mean this not only in the sense of equal pay for equal work, but in terms of the qualities and attributes that women possess.
The contributions of a woman's attributes should be expressed because they have to do with mercy, compassion, the qualities that haven't been expressed in the past. I believe when woman takes her rightful place in society, that we won't have the tenseness that we see, the aggressiveness that we see in the world today. That's some of the qualities that's missing from mankind. That's why we're constantly in a state of war.
Jim, do you think that maybe it's time for men to acquire more of the, shall we say, the feminine characteristics or attributes, not in terms of dress or body language, but in terms of qualities or attitudes?
I think so, and I think it's time that, and I think most people are doing this now. Most of the men around are beginning to see themselves differently than they did 50 years ago. It's okay now to go get your hair done. It's okay to buy perfume. We're really free to do some of the things that would have been laughed at, or would have been, that maybe just the crazy artists and musicians would have done 50 years ago. So we've come a long way, and I think that both men and women are beginning to really come into their own. I mean, at least we're starting to take the steps.
It's been mentioned that this is the time or the age of the feminization of mankind, meaning that men will develop those qualities of mercy and compassion. Do you see any trends in this in people you know, men trying to, even with all the emphasis on the macho image, of maybe getting a little more gentle?
I see it happening in the family unit with children, men taking on the role of the mother sometimes. The mother can actually hear the child cry before it cries in the middle of the night. And I think the husband and the father is taking a more active part in the rearing of the children. I see that happening a lot. Mm-hmm. That's one area.
Well, also, too, like you take a woman that's in the home that cooks a supper, a real nice supper for you. In the past, the men would go in and have their drinks and smoke their cigars, and the women would be left to clean up everything. And I think nowadays I've seen more and more that people, I know we do it in our home when we have a meal. If Ruby fixed something good, when we get done eating, I go in, I help her get, clean up so that we can both be free then to enjoy the family or to go out.
That's because she comes after him with a 9-pound frying pan.
Well, now, according to the song that you wrote about your wives, I didn't hear anything about frying pans or knives in the tune. The song Ruby Jean and Billy Lee. Would you talk a little bit about how you fellows happened to write that song, which has become very popular?
Ruby Jean and Billy Lee. That started out to be kind of a personal thing. Well, it was a personal thing. We were writing it.
We're writing two separate songs, actually. He had started one for Billy, and I had started one for Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to express to them our feelings in a song, because we figured that a song would be lasting. Whereas if you buy somebody a gift in a year or two, they have it, but it's a material thing, and this was something we felt was a spiritual gift.
We never thought of it in terms, to be honest, we didn't think of it in terms of recording it. We were going to present it to them on an individual basis, and we kept getting a lot of favorable reaction to the song, and were consequently talked into putting it on record. And a lot of people took the song, which we didn't think of. They took the song and used it as their own personal song, replacing the names with their own loved ones, and so it consequently turned out to be one of the favorites of a lot of people.
Diamond Girl also is a favorite for a lot of people, perhaps for similar reasons. It's easy to put in the image of whatever the woman is you happen to be especially fond of in the story of the song. Was there any particular inspiration behind Diamond Girl?
Yeah, an airplane.
That sounds so romantic. Something about those big engines warming up.
No, I'm kidding.
I think that as a writer, you try to find different ways to say "I love you" to someone, and by doing that, you let them know that to you that they're unique and that they're special. And Diamond Girl was a different way of saying, I love you.
A lot of your songs are concerned with love, but there's one that sticks in my mind that seems to be concerned with power, or at least the illusion of it, and that's a song called "King of Nothing," which is a little bit unusual for the kind of song you hear being played as a hit on the radio, as it seems not to deal with your basic "I love you," boy meets girl, boy meets dog, boy meets horse, whatever the particular interpersonal relationship is, and its relationship to power. Jimmy, can you tell a bit about that song?
When you're a kid, I think that everything around you seems more powerful than you are. Your parents and people that they can drive cars and they can go places that you can't go. They can stay up late at night. And you dream sometimes of when you grow up what you're going to do and the things, the goals you're going to pursue, and, you're going to fall in love, you're going to meet somebody, and all these things. And so when you get to be 17 years old and it hasn't happened, you say, well, when is it going to get here? And at that point, I actually started the song when I was about 18 years old, the first verse of it, and we didn't finish it until we did it as Seals and Crofts.
A lot of people think there's a great deal of power to be had in being a rock star.
There's a lot of hard work involved in being a rock star. There probably is a degree of influence, because young people are looking for ways to express themselves, and music is prevalent as being the foremost way of expressing themselves. So you have to, I suppose, think about what you're doing when you do it, whatever product you're working on. If it, whatever direction it goes in, there's a possible influence there. So I guess you take on some sort of a responsibility when you become a known rock person. I know that that we have read in the writings of the Baha'i Faith where music can work both ways. It can be the cause of the uplift of a sad and desponding heart, and in the same sense it can be a cause of depression and a down thing, according to the spirit of the song. And at the time we started, we felt like there was enough negativity in the world, and we wanted to try to counterbalance that a little bit, And that's where we feel like the power came from through the music, was in a positive sense, that it gave a sort of a power that was an uplifting thing.
But like with electrical power, it has to flow through you, and when you attempt to hold on to it, it seems like that's when most people lose it.
I think that's right. When you start to believe in your advertisement.
Start believing your own publicity.
Yeah, I think with Dash and I that we've had a kind of a double responsibility because of the Baha'i Faith, and it's the responsibility to try to set an example. I think that's been the hardest part on us, and it's been good for us because God knows that we could have gone and done anything that we wanted to. We've had the money and we've had, as you say, the power to do what we want to do. But thankfully, we've realized that we have a responsibility, to the people we work with and to what we've done before. And, we want to do a good job. We want to keep doing good music. But you do. But you do feel that responsibility.
Speaking of people you've worked with, I was noticing earlier today the charming photo of you and Paul Williams in basketball shorts on the back of it.
It was unforgettable, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was unforgettable, all right.
In case you as a listener have not seen the photo, I suggest you go immediately to your record store and find the soundtrack to the motion picture One on One, and you will find an amazing photo of Jimmy Seals, Dash Crofts, and Paul Williams, and Robbie Benson, all in basketball gym outfit. Attire, yes. They should have retired the attire. And
Paul Williams said the worst investment he ever made was a basketball.
Worst investment. No, that was apparently they tried to show us as a team that did the soundtrack and the vocals and the songwriting and so forth.
What is it like doing a collaboratory experience? If there's such a word as collaboratory. If not,
I think that's laboratory you're trying to think of.
Collaboratory is two laboratories side by
Right.
side. Let's talk about collaboration.
It was a pleasant experience. Paul Williams, to me, and Jimmy, at least speaking from my part, I think he's a very talented person, real good songwriter, and easy to work with. He's got a great sense of humor, and it was a pleasant experience to me.
And my fair share came from the soundtrack of One on One.
Yes, it was the single release that came out, and we were kind of surprised because it was I think it was the first song that we recorded that we didn't write ourselves, and so we just went in. The tracks were already finished and everything, and we went in and put the vocals on, and 3 or 4 weeks later it was a hit.
That was easy.
We kind of lucked into it.
Meanwhile, in the midst of the folk rock era and the experimentation of the 70s, along came disco.
Boing.
Which brings us to the tune, You're the Love in My Heart and Soul. Was that a direct attempt at disco, or was it merely influenced?
Well, I think we were influenced by disco in the sense that we had done soft rock music for so long and played these instruments for so long that we wanted to do something a little different. And we had already made a move towards R&B with a song called Get Closer, in which Carolyn Willis sang with us. And so it was good to do something with a beat for a change. But it wasn't something at that time that we wanted to get any further in. I don't think it was a true disco song. It was kind of like a borderline disco. It was between...
It was an accident, really.
Yeah.
I don't think we really, deliberately set out to do a disco song. There was a little turnaround in the song. It goes to a double time thing, and people just kind of label it as a disco song because there was disco happening at the time, and I don't think that was what our intention was of the song, but it got labeled disco, and I think that was the only one on the album like that. But because it was a single and did real well, then I guess people thought of it as a disco song.
Same album.
Excuse
me. The same album, I believe, also had Forever Like a Rose on it. Is that correct? Taking It Easy album? Or am I one off?
I believe you're right. I have to go back through my collection of human heads.
Collection of human heads?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Can't remember.
That's quite a fascinating song. The haunting refrain to it. How did you cook that one up? What was the occasion that prompted Forever Like a Rose?
There was a film that Hanna-Barbera was doing that had been filmed in Hungary. It was an animated film, and they wanted to redo music with contemporary music and change the title and the idea of it, but to keep everything that they had on film. So they came to us, and we decided we would do the music to it. And Forever Like the Rose became the title of the film. So Dash and I, we wrote that in Mazatlan, wasn't it? We went to Mexico, and we got down there, and all of our electrical equipment, we didn't have adapters for it or anything. So we had to end up writing the songs. We wrote 6 songs the first night and completed all of the work on the film, and then we stayed about an extra week. We would call our manager and say, boy, we're really working hard.
We were fishing and playing tennis.
Water skiing and all that.
How nice to be prolific.
Yeah.
It was kind of an observation of what it must have been like to be in the presence of Abdul-Baha, who was the son of Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i Faith, and what he would say if he was writing a song. He would say, be giving, forever like the rose.
Show what
try.
you can do.
You know, I think all that any of the manifestations of God have ever asked us to do was try. And that's basically what the song says. It says, just try.
To many people, the spiritual and humanitarian teachings of the Baha'i Faith sound like pie in the sky, even if it's time they try to slice. Is there a way that you feel you can communicate the practicality or the application of the teachings?
Well, it's very hard to do that, Burl, in just a plain statement. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
It's a hard thing to give a direct answer for it because it covers a lot of territory and it has to be compared to the many different aspects of life as we know it and our present way of doing things. I was going to say, though, that everyone in life has to conform to something, whether we like it or not. In this country, in the United States, we have to conform to this kind of government. We have to conform to being on Earth unless we can get in a spaceship and leave it. We have to conform to death. And I feel like that people, we're not that different from other people. Everybody's alike. It has to be something that you're willing to conform to. People are willing to conform or to sacrifice if they feel like it's worth it and it makes sense. So the Baha'i Faith and the teachings encompass all of the previous knowledge. It's like having the best of everything and doing away with everything that divides and takes it a step higher. And it's something that's very easy, I think, for people to adapt to. I think they want it.
One thing, people are not willing to conform if they don't know what the end results are. And I think one of the problems right now is people don't know what their purpose is and why they are here to begin with. That's one of the major questions in the world today. And like Jimmy said, it's in order for something to be practical, there has to be a result. You can't just conform because somebody tells you to conform. You've got to believe what you're doing is going to cause something better. And that's why we're involved in it to begin with, is we see that the basis of all problems in the world right now is a lack of knowledge. And this is the purpose of the prophets. They come to educate mankind. Not to make us do that or make us do this or make us do that. It's to let us know about ourselves and about our own environment and about creation and why it exists. I've always had a why in me. Down to the smallest thing, I've got to know what makes it work and why. And I think most human beings are basically the same way. And if you can go at something with that attitude as to why, then it's not hard to conform to something if you can see an end result.
Mm-hmm. So the Baha'i Faith then is not merely one more idea of organization or another structure superimposed over the already conflicting creeds of mankind, but you see a long-range destiny, shall we say, of cooperation between the people of the world.
Absolutely. It's the most positive thing we've come across, an optimistic thing we've come across, and practical and logical. I mean, there's so many good points to say about it, that it is not a break-off of something else. It's not an ism of something else. It's a brand new, independent revelation from a prophet of God. And the challenge is Baha'u'llah who he claims to be or not? This is the claim. Baha'u'llah's claim is that he is the latest manifestation of God for this age, that all the prophets of God have been in accordance with each other, have even spoken of each other, and have involved themselves in the same plan of God, and that is to step by step educate mankind. Collectively, they're all serving the same purpose as electricity serves the same purpose. We have different lamps and different shapes, but they're all doing the same thing. They're all lighting the room, and they're all deriving their source from the same source, electricity. So it's the same with the prophets of God. And this is where we find it a very practical thing.
This would then be the essence of your song Year of Sunday, which is the title tune of the album of the same name, where you went through many of the major founders of the world's religions, such as Moses and Jesus and Muhammad, and most recently the Bab, forerunner of Baha'u'llah, and Baha'u'llah himself.
Well, that's a total new concept, which is one of the unique things about the Baha'i faith and the writings of Baha'u'llah, is he teaches that religion is given to man progressively in stages. So we call it progressive revelation, and each one of the religions has developed a particular attribute in the human reality, or brought it to a certain degree, and then the other one comes and follows and takes it a step further, redefines what being spiritual is, changes the application, and so on, just like in school. So now we've gone from families to tribes, to cities, to states, to nations. And if you examine, if a person is a student of these things, and of history and religion and government and all, if you examine it closely, you'll see where each time a manifestation of God comes, he gives the teaching before the old civilization really begins to collapse. The remedy for what's going to come is already given. And because we turn our backs and simply fail to investigate it, then we end up behind the 8 ball. So, but these teachings that were given over 100 years ago, that would have helped us avoid the economic and spiritual bankruptcy that we're in now.
I remember a few years ago when you were on tour, long before Watergate and in some of these other things, you fellows were kind of talking, not so much in a prophetic fashion, but merely stating what you felt, that you understood from the writings of the Baha'i faith, that we were in for. And we've kind of gone through and ticked them all off, watched them all go by.
Well, we were just mainly reporting what we had read. Baha'u'llah spelled it all out and said, this is what would happen and how it would happen. And his son, Abdul-Baha, even went so far as to say that this is how the world will become unified, and all that knowledge is there. The steps, there's 7 candles of unity. He said there would first be unity in the political realm. Then there would be unity of world undertakings. The 3rd candle would be the unity of thought. The 4th candle would be the unity of religions, and so on and on. Then the races, and then the language would be chosen or made up, a new one, either one. That there would be an international script, so that a universal educational system, a universal tribunal, all of these things would evolve, and he lists step by step. And if you correlate that with the development of the decline, you can see that already now we're experiencing the first little glimmer of international law. For example, if a person kidnaps somebody in an airplane, and tries to land in another country, now they have laws that some of the countries in cooperation with one another won't let them land there. They say, no, if it's wrong in the United States, it's wrong here too. So we're beginning to have little glimmers of what it could be like in the future. And we have to have very strong international laws, very strong administration, in order to hold a world civilization together. It's not something that's just an idealistic dream.
Pie in the sky.
No, it's something that's real.
But you must have no matter what the system is, or what the economy is, or the organization, no matter how many brilliant minds you got together in one room to come up with the perfect international system, it still would not work and still would not be successful unless the hearts of people are changed, with their motives and priorities.
Exactly. The only way that it will work is if unity is the most important thing. In other words, say that the 3 of us are in a room. If my being right, if my being right causes more disunity than unity, then I ought to be able to let it go for the moment and go back to the unity.
For the sake
because
of
the unity is the result. Unity is life. Unity is the object of the entire creation. It was the beginning and it's the end of everything. So unity in the world. Can you imagine when the world becomes unified, what kind of a civilization we'd have?
Better to be wrong and united than
right and divided
and disunited. Yeah.
This is probably no doubt I can figure out from my amazing consciousness. This was obviously the influence behind the song "One Planet, One People, Please."
Affirmative.
Affirmative.
That was also a slogan that was used in different various teaching efforts. One planet, one people, please. Once in a while, you see even a bumper sticker on Baha'is car. It says "One Planet, One People, Please." So Jimmy made the effort to write a song for it too, and we put that on. We put that on a couple of albums, I think.
It's on the Longest Road album, Last Cut, Side 2, and it's also on a kind of a hard to find album called Lote Tree.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. That was the other
which
one.
has songs on there by several Baha'i artists.
Yeah, that's true. I was trying to think of another album. There was a K-Tel thing that was out too. I don't know whether it was on that or not, but it was an effective song. It talks about, I can see the old world dying, it must crumble and fall. It means that the system that we know and that we use today is actually obsolete, because we're dealing with nationhood, and the earth is actually one country and mankind its citizens, and that's the way it should be, because the world has become so small through communication and travel that it's time for that change. It's time to become one planet, one people, please.
After all, we may not have that much time left.
True. It depends on us, I think. But if it starts in an individual level, it becomes a collective level. And as we said before, the basis of all of our problems is a lack of knowledge. And this knowledge is here for us to discover and to analyze and to read and to study and do whatever we want to, but it is available. Could we but know it? It is available.
Seems to me that many people are actually afraid of knowledge and prefer ignorance. Because of the enormous amount of information available, some people feel there's an information overload. It makes life too complex. You have to do too much thinking and make too many personal decisions. If everything could be reduced down to simple black and white, right and wrong, to kind of a comic book cosmology, life would be much easier to deal with.
Don't bother me with the facts. My mind is made up.
Actually, I think that's what the Baha'i faith does. Everything is condensed down that there are answers for questions, and I think as long as people have questions, which will probably be always, they're going to need answers in order to solve their problems and to be happy, to be productive.
It's true, though.
Those answers are there.
People become very comfortable with what they have, and like you said, they're afraid it's going to become too complex. There's too much information. There's too much this and that. But everything happens on a gradual level. The sun doesn't just pop up at noon, because everything would wilt away and burn up and die. It has to gradually rise, and everything gets used to that. The same with the appearance of a prophet. You gradually become aware of the amount of knowledge that's been released, and you learn step by step, just like anything else.
Kind of relates to a song that I've heard you talk about before, Jimmy, and that's the song Ancient of the Old. This same type of thing. This, how much of the knowledge can we actually take in at one time?
Well, it depends on what our capacity is, but each one of us have the capacity to know and love our Creator and to discover the knowledge and the mysteries of God for ourselves, and through interaction with other people. If you find somebody that's on a spiritual search, or that's found something that they think is a profound statement on a certain subject, and you share it with one another, then you can actually help one another grow, and you can accelerate the rate. You become more intelligent and more responsible.
Let's go to the bathroom.
Dash, you were talking a while ago about how the Baha'i faith gives purpose to your life, which brings up a very basic question. What's the purpose of life?
Well, the purpose of life, as I understand it, is to develop qualities that we have within us. I used to think that these qualities like mercy and compassion, forgiveness, all of these belong to God and God only, because that's what they were always related to when I would read about those qualities. And then all of a sudden one day it dawned on me, and it says it over and over in all the religious writings, that we have those same qualities ourselves. We were made in a God-like image. So the obvious thing is if we develop these qualities while we're on this plane of existence, we'll be better prepared for another plane of existence. Plus, the more they're developed, the more in tune we become with each other, the more united we become with each other, the more things we have in common with each other. I just wish I was trying my best to express away to the listeners how unreligion-y this whole thing is that we're talking about, but it can't be expressed unless you experience it on a personal level.
Well, as a matter of fact, that's the thing that was such a problem, or one of the big obstacles for the manifestations of God, is they were created for the purpose of expressing something that man, that's beyond what man can conceive at that present time. It's a reality that is beyond the human senses. In other words, like taste, touch, smell, eyesight, and hearing, those are all physical attributes. And the spiritual world and the direction that the human soul is progressing is in an unseen realm. It's the qualities such as mercy and love and compassion and wisdom and understanding, and these things that Dash was talking about. So these things are all in every individual potentially, but they have to be activated. And if they're not, then what you have is the absence of those qualities. And the absence of those qualities is the animalistic nature.
Now, not only is that the purpose on an individual level, but on a collective level, is to carry forth an advancing civilization. Otherwise, what is the purpose? I mean, is it darkness and worms? I mean, that's not it, you know. That's
spiders and snakes?
Spiders. That's what I used to think. And I used to think, are we in a bubble, or are we a molecule on some giant's arm in a little drop of water? You know, all kinds of things. But as you begin to, and what I mean by unreligion is the Baha'i faith is a religion, but it's not religion as we know it. It's a way of life, is what it is. It's a day-to-day effort, and it's not easy. It's not that you're happy all day long, like these people that come out on talk shows. Everything's wonderful, and we're smiling and kissing. You know, they're really miserable, and they have a lot of problems, and they're trying to solve them from one day to another, but they're expressing how wonderful they are. But everybody has this one thing in common. We have tasks to do in our lives, and we have barriers to overcome. And that is the process of growth in this life, on this plane of existence, is to overcome those things. Where the prophet hit the nail on the head, I think, was when he said you must approach knowledge with an empty cup. You cannot have any preconceived ideas of what it's about. Otherwise, it's back to the old saying, don't confuse me with the facts, my mind is made up. You must empty a cup in order to pour more water into it. And that always comes back to my mind. I must have emptied my cup when I came across this, otherwise you have to unacquire a lot of knowledge.
Unlearn. You have to unlearn everything and start all over again.
I mean, we're a product of our environment. You know, we're taught things, and if our father beat us as a kid, then we go to the opposite and don't even touch our kids because, or you know, there's things that people do because their father did, and their father, and their father, and their father, or mother and mother, and those are things that we're all individuals. We all have individual capacities. We're all capable of learning on our own. We're all capable of, most of us are capable of reading and writing now. Whereas in the former days, a lot of us were illiterate and couldn't read and write, and had to listen from somebody who was knowledgeable and could read and write. All of those things are changed. That's what I mean, that the world is such a smaller place. Now, we're practically one family, whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. And all that's left to do is remove those barriers that are man-made to begin with. I've never seen a globe that has borders on it. Mm-hmm. I mean, God apparently made this world with no borders of any kind. maybe oceans in between, but all of these are put there by man. I'm going on and on.
Even the biggest barriers on the planet are capable of being overcome, be they oceans or mountains.
Absolutely.
Man can overcome any of those physical barriers. How much easier it should be to overcome the imaginary barriers of racial prejudice, religious prejudice, or national prejudice.
That's what I mean by any preconceived idea is not fair to yourself. You're not even being fair to yourself if you prejudge any situation. You have to approach it with an open mind. Then you can make up your own mind whether it's useful or not. You can always throw it out the window.
Some people say, why bother? It's too late in my life to make any significant change.
Well, that's it, the term my. That was the word that was the wrong word to use, my life. It's our life. We all live on this planet together. You know, somebody mentioned a while ago that one of the things that drives them forward is that they have children. They have small children. And if you don't have children, you can't relate to this as you could with children. But I don't want to leave my children in this mess. I know that I'm older than them, and chances are I'll go before they will. So that keeps me going from day to day. I want to make this a better place for them. I really sincerely do that because I love them so much. As anybody loves their children, I really sit around and worry about it. I sit around and worry about leaving my children in a situation, and it doesn't look, bright at all right now.
Well, we certainly have the power within our hands to help change the world and help make it a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we all have that.
Yeah, it's something that is up to us. And I lost my train of thought. It always, when you talk about children, it's always something that. Well, let's cut this part out. I lost my complete train of thought.
Some people hold back from committing their hearts or their actions to these types of humanitarian principles, as you find in the Baha'i faith, because they're afraid of losing their identity in the process. They're afraid of surrendering themselves will somehow get lost in this ocean, and their personality will be submerged.
Well, the whole object of what we were saying a minute ago, Burl, was that a person has to give up what they think and how they feel about certain things in order to see something different. So what you give up is not really given up, you just get. And I think that's the hardest thing to understand, is if you see life as being one way, what could be the harm in trying to see it another? You can always go back to the way you saw it. And then you have two viewpoints to look from. But our identity, as far as that's concerned, the fear of losing our identity, I think you're right. That they're afraid of not being individuals anymore. And I think, for one thing, the Baha'i faith, if it does anything, it heightens the feeling of being an individual. It gives you a sense of fulfillment and gives you a way to express the uniqueness that you have in a world community. To be effective, to be more effective. But at the moment of death, even though we remain an individual, we won't have the same kind of existence that we have here. We have to become detached from all of the things of the physical world at the moment of death. So why not begin to do it now? And I know that what I try to do in my life, and what Dash has tried to do in his life with the Baha'i faith, is to strengthen our will and to try to align our will with the will of the manifestation of God, so that wherever the will of our Creator moves, whatever He says in the writings to do, that becomes more pleasant and more fulfilling for us to do that than it would be to do something other than that. And it's like an exercise of the will and volition and all of the things that we have to develop. And this is what we strive for in our life, is to develop these things. If you're a passive person, it makes a doer out of you. If you're somebody who is a very practical person, it brings in the mystical aspect of things and gives you the ability to reach out beyond what your senses tell you and what you've read and say, well, I believe that down the line this is going to happen, or I believe that in the next world that such and such is there, and I want to prepare for it. So belief in anything, or faith, is reaching out beyond the senses, beyond what you know, and bringing from the unknown into the known.
you begin to see by applying these principles that it does pay off on a personal in a personal sense. Just as like you said, we try to align ourselves with the will of the manifestation of God, which is like aligning yourself with a green light. And you're in a car, if you try to stop at the green light, somebody's going to run into you from behind. If you align yourself with the green light and you go with it, then it works like it's supposed to. And personally, I think that everything's based on that type of a universal law, that it's there, and you can break yourself against it, or you can go with it, and everything will work smoothly.
It's been said that you can't break the laws of God; you can only break yourself against them.
Yeah, it's like a law of gravity. You can deny its existence, but if you jump off of that garage, you're going to break your arm.
You know something, though? All of the advertising on television and everything that we have in this existence leads us in a direction that's, in a lot of ways, away from the will of the Creator. We're just programmed day after day after day to like the things that are bad for us and to shun the things that hint of any kind of organized religion or anything to do with God. And it's to the degree...
you got to have some fight, you know.
Well, you know what's amazing also is I find fascinating about, and coming from a background in advertising, the amount of qualities, non-physical, spiritual qualities that are often attributed to physical things.
Sure.
Yeah.
A cologne will give you personal freedom. I saw one on last night. Give you the freedom and openness of the great Wild West, the freedom that's within you. Putting this scented water on my face with alcohol in it is somehow supposed to give me release my inner freedom.
Or smoking a Marlboro will give you a tattoo on the back of your head.
I don't think it works quite that way. While there may be pleasure to be derived, honest pleasure, from any number of fine products that are advertised in the world, whether or not we can actually ascribe to them the manifestation of spiritual qualities may be another matter entirely. It's said that in order to perceive anything, there has to be... Well, the only way human beings know anything is by manifestation. The only way you know heat is you need a source of heat and the ability to perceive it. If there is light, you need eyes that work in order to perceive the light. Everything we know is through manifestation. Same thing with music. If the most beautiful music in the world can be playing, but unless you have ears to hear it, you don't know it's there. Maybe much the same with religious truth for any age. Somehow we have to develop the capacity not only to hear it, but appreciate it and get in tune with it.
That's a good principle that you're talking about. That's one of the principles that we can prove. And that's where the Baha'i faith becomes a very logical, scientific thing. It's based on scientific concepts like you're talking about. There's opposites. We wouldn't know health if we didn't have sickness, and wouldn't know light if we didn't have darkness, and so on and so on. And this is also one of the proofs of immortality. If we didn't know mortality, how does that go? You explain that real well.
Abdu'l-Baha says that if we didn't in other words, by having mortality, it presupposes the fact that there has to be immortality, because we wouldn't be able to measure mortality.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have anything to compare it to.
And
the same thing with eternity.
Yeah.
If there were no eternity, we wouldn't be able to measure time. We wouldn't compare it to anything. Now, the only difference is we don't know what the condition of eternity is. We say a quality is eternal. If a person has eternal qualities in them, we don't know what the condition of that is, because we haven't had all of the eternal qualities in us in a balance. It's like some people have courage and no patience, or they'll have patience and no courage. It's gathering all of the qualities together through the power of attraction, which happens by being attracted to the truth. In other words, you must be truthful with yourself. If you don't believe something, you got to say, "Look, God, I don't believe you're there." There's nothing wrong with that. It's admitting it. It's better than carrying it around for 20 years, trying every time you say, "Oh, I'm not supposed to doubt." You say, "Okay, where are you?"
Just honest with yourself.
Yeah, you must be truthful with yourself and take account of where you are, and then by being truthful, you can face up to what you are and come to grips with whether or not there is a God, if you have to do that. and then you begin from there, and then you're ready to receive.
It's been said that God is love, and you mentioned the word attraction a minute ago. Attraction is not one of those scientific principles that exists on all levels. There's attraction between molecules. There's attraction between planets. And these are all very physical things. Even on a subatomic level, you have attraction. And between human beings, you have attraction that is not physical. There's spiritual attraction or mental attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always attraction between human beings to attributes or qualities. When we think of why we like our friends, it isn't because of the cars they drive or the clothes they wear. It's some quality or attribute in their personality that we find attractive. And that if we break it down to its final analysis, it is always an attribute that is associated with God.
Yes. And the manifestation of God had all the divine attributes. They had all the power, the mercy, the wisdom, understanding, forgiveness. They contained all of it in perfect balance. And this is the reason they were able to teach it to us.
That covers two subjects. One is the dual nature of man. We have the lower nature and the higher nature. And as you said, Burl, that the higher qualities are what we are attracted to normally, because the lower qualities are actually an absence of those better qualities. It's the same as, and the other subject that I was talking about is good and evil. It's the same thing. Evil is not the force, good is the force, and evil is a lack of that force. This is where these writings are based on a spiritual application. One of the principles is science and religion must agree. They must go hand in hand. As we know, if we had only science without a spiritual application, it would be a monster. We know what we have scientifically, and vice versa. The spiritual application without the scientific would be fanatical, dogmatic.
We've seen that as well.
We've seen that as well. So we're talking about very logical concepts. Very logical concepts. I mean, at least to me, these are the first concepts that I have ever come across that have explained the nature of man to me. That we have in the past. I think it's been called the like Jekyll and Hyde. They called it. They use some other term rather than higher nature, lower nature. They
the good and evil side.
Good and evil, and that's within us. But they're reflections. They're reflections of a higher nature and reflections of a lower nature. And this is the motivating force that we have to strive and grow with on this plane of existence. It also means that the qualities that we were talking about earlier have to be developed. It's almost like packing a suitcase to go on a trip. If you don't pack what you need, when you get there, you'll wish that you had. It's really simple. And that's what we're doing here. We're packing a suitcase for another...
Much like if you could go into the womb of the mother with a microphone and interview the developing child and say, would you like arms or legs? I don't need them for anything. I'm not going anywhere. Would you like teeth? No, I don't have anything to chew. How about eyes? No, I got nothing to look at. It's dark in here anyway. And if it was left up to the child, they wouldn't develop anything. Fortunately, it's not. And all those things don't have any real purpose until the coming forth. And maybe it's much the same with us, developing our spiritual arms and spiritual legs and spiritual eyes and ears. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, as the case may be, we have the freedom of choice here as to how well and how much we develop those spiritual qualities that are the only thing we take with us.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy. Very good. It's interesting, isn't it, that there's nothing that the child can use in that world, and has no idea why it's growing these things.
If you asked it if it wanted to leave, hey, it's really beautiful once you leave here. Right, I've heard that.
Sure,
I think I'll stay. It's comfortable.
Right.
And we have much the same attitude here. I was trying to invent a new word for it. There's a word ethnocentric.
Comfortability.
Well, there's a word ethnocentric, which is where you see your race as being superior to all others. Maybe there is a word we could invent that implies that your level of existence or your world of existence is superior to all other worlds of existence. I don't think there's such a word yet. Maybe we can invent one and get it in a dictionary.
You know, when you think about it, though, if the child was offered the chance to go into the next world, why would it want to go to the next world? Because it doesn't know what to do with these things. I mean, no, I'm comfortable here. It's warm. I'm curled up. You know, I can sleep. I can eat. I don't have no effort. You know, same thing here. People are comfortable with what they have. I'm comfortable. Leave me alone. You know, but if we only knew what the opportunities were. See, to me, that covers the state of heaven and hell, too. You get to the next plane of existence, and hell is what you missed out on here. What? You mean I blew all of those opportunities? You know?
But, you know, someone had a great line a few days ago. They said, the encouraging thing is that there is no way you can put a lid on eternity. Because whatever condition you're in when you leave this plane of existence doesn't mean you're stuck in that condition. Because if you were stuck in that condition, that would negate the concept of eternity. Because where there is eternity, there is always growth, or the potential for it.
That's great.
Can't put a lid on eternity. I know that was
can't
really
put
short.
a lid on eternity. I heard a quote somewhere that says, there's always something to be grateful for. That's a good line, too. No matter what the circumstances are, there's always something to be grateful for. But, you know, this is the thing, that if people are not aware of why they are here and what their reason is for being here and what their purpose is from here forward, then why should they be interested in anything else? I mean, we're comfortable, leave me alone. You know what I mean? I can understand it completely. But it's just like the womb of the mother. The child has no idea why it's growing the arms and legs, but once it's born, it sees completely and clearly why it grew these legs and why it grew its arms and why it grew its ears and why it grew its eyes. You know, I mean,
it wouldn't go back.
Useful.
Wouldn't go back.
That's right. I think it's a really interesting analysis of this life and the next.
Well, I think that within millions and millions of people, no matter how outwardly complacent they may seem, there is something stirring within the people of the world, a longing for something better. The feeling is like hearing a tune way off in the distance. They're attracted to something, but they don't know what. They feel an emptiness, and maybe they try to fill it with station wagons with imitation wood paneling and imported color television sets and wearing blenders, all which are fine elements within themselves, but they do not fill that need or that vacuum, and they keep looking. They'll try alcohol, they'll try drugs, they'll try sexual self-indulgence, and still there's that thing there they're missing. And maybe they won't find it when they go to their church or synagogue. Maybe their personality clashes with the structured forms of worship or liturgy or ceremony, and they're out there in what in biblical terms may be called an abomination of desolation, running to and fro looking for wisdom and not knowing where to find it. But somewhere inside there is that, I don't know if you feel that, reaching out. People are looking for not just anything, but they are looking precisely for something.
Well, I think when a manifestation of God appears, it's as though the sun rises, and if you're a plant that's in the shade of the corner of a house, you can deny the existence of that sun, yet you're still receiving the benefits of it. You're still growing from it. And I think a lot of people have become in tune to the knowledge that's been revealed, but are not aware of its originality or of its origin. There is I lost my train of thought completely. I had two things going in my mind.
Well, maybe this will refresh you.
Okay.
It's been said that a world totally unaware of its origins is taking one by one the teachings of the Baha'i faith as a mark of a progressive society. Totally unaware that these teachings were first stated by Baha'u'llah over 100 years ago.
They're working very hard to attain to those qualities and don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And going in that direction, and they don't know that the answers are already there, so they're going through all these pains, sometimes years worth of pain, to recognize one small thing that they could have found on page one.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we've been trying to say for 11, 12 years.
It's just like that
years.
Emancipation of women that began by one woman and one woman only, Tahareh, in the land of Persia. And a lot of people believe that that concept has begun in London or in New York City or Los Angeles. It began a long time ago. Even though people were not aware of it, they are becoming aware of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we take a look at the headlines in the paper and we see the problems in the world, every major problem that the world is facing is the result of a direct violation of one of the teachings of Baha'u'llah.
Exactly.
That might be hard for people to comprehend, but it's
Well, they'd have to know what it was
You'd have
that
to know what-
Baha'u'llah taught.
just like the
this is
child at the womb.
This is the great problem and the great loss, is that what Dash and I have been trying to present through our music and through our lives and everything that we've tried to do is to let people know that it exists so they can investigate it.
Yeah, first they have to know that it's here.
You have to investigate in order to find out what it is.
True.
If you don't find out what it is, you can't use it. You can't benefit.
Unless they know that Baha'u'llah has called for, or rather established, the oneness of God, the oneness of religion, the oneness of all mankind, the equality of men and women, the harmony of science and religion, the importance of education. These are the whats of the Baha'i faith. But the reason that Baha'is believe this is because they believe that Baha'u'llah is the messenger of God for the age in which we live.
Well, let's face it, someone that was stupid couldn't have originated concepts like that over 100 years ago and had millions of followers. It's like Muhammad. Muhammad was a camel driver. And now millions and millions of people worship and live by his laws and his concepts. The same with Christianity. Christ was a carpenter. And these people had no television, no telephones or anything. What kind of power is it that causes people to align themselves with those teachings and live by them? And again with Baha'u'llah, already in a short, 100 years, millions of Baha'is all over the world that are being killed now because they believe in the oneness of mankind. I mean, they're dying so that we can go down and pick up a book at our on a moment's notice, and they gave their lives for those books. And it's just a shame that at this time in the world, with the answers there that the governments are looking for, that the economists are looking for, that the unions are looking for, and all these things are right there in the writings. Over 100 years ago he said it. He said this is the way to avoid it. These are the steps to take that'll benefit you economically, spiritually, governmental-wise, and everything else.
He says the divine physician has his finger on the pulse of mankind and prescribes the proper remedy. He says yet unskilled physicians appear to be having the run of the patient.
Well, everybody wants the credit for coming up with the answer. And the manifestation of God is always humble and spends his life in prison and is persecuted and everything else, and confesses before God every night and in all of his prayers that he revealed that he's nothing. He said, I am nothing.
Which incidentally is one of the proofs of a prophet, is they're being persecuted and humiliated and degraded and tortured and and plus the fact that they create a civilization of followers. There's no Aristotle, civilization. There's no Plato. The great philosophers. Their words begin in words and end in words, but the prophet of God actually creates a civilization, a Christian civilization, a Muslim civilization, a Jewish civilization.
Well, it's the only teaching that satisfies the heart and the mind at the same time. It's applicable, and so therefore it's a reality both in the physical and the spiritual realm.
None of these founders of the world's religions ever really asked for much for themselves. We don't see a Jesus or Moses or Muhammad or Baha'u'llah living in the Park Hilton, driving a Mercedes-Benz and saying, send me your money. All of them have suffered terribly and have never asked anything for themselves.
That's an interesting thing about the Baha'i faith world. That another thing that attracted Dash and I when we first heard about the faith was that the Baha'i faith, the Baha'is don't take money from people who are not Baha'is. If a Baha'i contributes funds of any kind, it's done in secret. Only they know it. The whole thing is set up to protect the individual and the whole at the same time. It's the only system in the world that protects the right of the whole and the right of the individual, and uplifts everything. Everything is a positive thing. It's not a divisive force in it at all. Of course, all of the things that are outworn, all of the old ideas and things, with the weight of truth, give way to what is true for this time. And Baha'u'llah indicates in the writings, he says that this is a day that won't be followed by night, that never again will will the human soul and human beings on this earth have to go through the animalistic tests and things that we're going on this level, that in the future our test will be different.
And the Baha'i Faith has no paid clergy, no ceremonies or traditions per se, which makes it universally applicable to all cultures and all people.
It don't matter whether a person is an intelligent, well-groomed financial genius or someone who works in the field or who they are. They're just Baha'is, and everybody contributes and everybody loves one another.
Sounds good to me. Of course, yeah.
It's something that is hard to visualize. Like you said, you have a tendency to believe that it's a pie in the sky type thing, but some of the subjects that we've covered in this talk show its practical application, its scientific ability, its harmony. It speaks for itself, is what it does. I mean, it's something that you don't have to defend. All you have to do is investigate it.
If you look around the world, all things have to change. All societies and all governments, all religion, everything has to change. And either it does it peacefully and productively, creatively, or it does it violently and destructively. And we have a choice to make. Either we can do it the way we're doing, or we can do what Baha'u'llah said. But we're going to end up on our knees in disaster and begging for the mercy of God, which is already happening in many places in the world right now. But to this time, it hasn't hit the majority of the American people. But the day is coming when it will. And not only should they have the knowledge to fall down on their knees, but they have to have ways to create a new civilization. And this is what we're talking about. We're creating a new civilization before the old one crumbles.
Reminds me of what you were saying just now about okay.
The time of the top of the temperature tower.
Hey, at the top of the wacko. Let's go to the top of the wacko. Wacko weather tower at the 35 charge out degrees of the breeze of the big K. Hey. Hi. Oh, hi. This is Eastern Washington. We can talk like this. In case you just joined us, I'm Burl. What are we rolling?
We didn't just join you.
In case you just joined us, I'm Burl Baird, talking with my good, close personal friends, Jimmy Seals and Dash Crofts, with guitar and mandolin in hand, talking about, among many other things, the Baha'i Faith. How does a person even know if they're interested in spiritual matters? I mean, a lot of people could be listening and going, oh, well, who cares? How did you know you were interested and you heard about Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i Faith?
Because I knew there was a lot of questions that I had no answers for. And I would pin people to the wall and say, well, what about the guy in Africa that worships a rock? What about him? Is he going to go to hell and, burn and all that? Well, if it's the will of God, my son, you will get your answer. I want my answer now. I mean, there were things like, what about it? What about it? I want to know. I think the major thing that made me realize that I was seeking something was when I heard the concept of the oneness of religion, because that was the biggest confusion in my whole life, was why were there 4 churches on one intersection and each of them had their own policy, and they were all worshiping the same prophet and the same God. And so that's when I thought, well, I must be looking for something, because when I heard that, I thought, that makes sense. Oneness of religion. Tell me more about that. And then there's the professional seeker who is seeking so hard that he forgets what he's doing and says, don't bother me with the truth, I'm still seeking. There was a story that I heard one time where this guy went to the great master and he said, tell me truth, I want to know truth. How do I achieve this? And he said, well, you go down to the shore, the seashore, and you pick up rocks and you find the warm rock and you will learn truth. And so he went there and he picked up the rocks, and it was cold, he'd throw it in the ocean. He'd pick up another rock, it was cold, he'd throw it in the water. And he would do this day after day after day. And he would get to where it was almost a ritual. He'd go to the seashore, he'd grab a rock, it was not warm, he'd throw it in the water. He'd grab another rock, and it was not warm, he'd throw it in the water. He picked up another rock, and it was warm, and he threw it in the water. And he picked up another rock, and it was cold. I mean, he was so involved in seeking, he completely missed the point. So there are ways to know if you're seeking or if you're not, and that is when you hear a concept that really grabs you, you think, this is what I've been looking for. That's what happened to me. I don't know how it happened with Jimmy, but
it was pretty much the same. I think I was like a lot of people are. You know that there has to be something out there that we don't know about. I mean, this universe, if you look at it, there's got to be a force. There has to be something that created all of this. It just couldn't happen from nothing. It has to have a cause.
Not to mention the fact that that the claim is such a mind-blowing claim that there's a prophet of God that has appeared since the prophets that we know of. I mean, that alone was such a curious thing to me, just to find out if that's true or not. You know, I mean, Baha'u'llah claims to be a messenger of God, a prophet of God, a manifestation of God, whatever you choose to call, but that has appeared in our lifetime. That's a mind blower to me. I have to find out if this is true or not.
Yeah, and you know, so many people are afraid to search because they've been programmed. Even if they're not really aware of it, they're afraid that if they do something that is going to be doubting what Christ said or doubting what they're supposed to be doing, and we have to be willing to search. And I think a lot of people are. I think they want answers. And I think that we were the same way.
Now, when you say prophet, you don't mean foreteller of events only, or a fortune teller, or a seer. You mean the founder of a religion of the world, such as Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, Zoroaster, Baha'u'llah.
Yes. Baha'u'llah explains that there are greater and lesser prophets. And the manifestations of God or prophets, either the terminology is where it breaks down. But a manifestation of God is different because they are the creator or the originators of the new thoughts, the new concepts, the new heaven and hell, the new Jerusalem, you know, or whatever. They're like the sun. And the sun, we have here on the earth, we have sun and we have the moon. The sun is the light giver. Now the moon also gives the light, but it doesn't have the source of the light within itself. It reflects the light of the sun. So you have the great manifestations of God that come, and their purpose for being created is to, for coming to man, to give us the messages that He wants us to do. And then you have the lesser prophets and expounders and people, well, for example, Mary Baker Eddy didn't found Christianity, but she expounded upon it and brought out certain aspects of it, which was Christian Science. So you have the different degrees, but the manifestations of God, and in this case Baha'u'llah, which is a universal manifestation of God, meaning that from the beginning of time, from Adam until Muhammad, was the prophetic cycle, and the full development of the animal nature and the beginning steps of the tiny spiritual development. And now we're in the age of the fulfillment of all those prophecies with the coming of Baha'u'llah. So he is the fulfillment or the culmination of all that school of religion. We're going to graduate now into a whole new concept of life and world and death and birth and all these things.
But old allegiances die hard, and it's not the purpose of the Baha'i faith to oust from the hearts of their followers these founders of the world's religions in any way.
Absolutely.
No, it causes you to have a greater sense of appreciation and belief in them.
Reminds me of an interesting little riddle I heard. It goes, Moses, Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad walk into a room. There is only one chair. Who sits in the chair and who sits on the floor? The answer to the riddle is, as they were all meek and humble and kind and considerate, the chair would remain empty, and they'd all sit together on the floor. None would dare exalt himself above the other. And wouldn't it be nice if their followers would follow the same example?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fact, though, with the prophets of God. They all spoke of each other, expounded of each other's revelation, had the highest humility, the highest respect and reverence for each other. I think, I'm trying to remember which prophet it was, but had you known Moses, you would have known me.
It all boils down to one thing also, is that it's the way you do things, it's the way you live, it's the way you understand, it's the way you play music, it's the way you say something. You can get things done in a way that's causes unity and causes respect and dignity, or else you can yell and scream or backbite and undermine. It's the way that it's done.
And your motive for what you do. A person can walk into a room and murder somebody or slay somebody, and his motive would be for personal gain, or he wants to get rid of this person so he doesn't have competition, or he can walk in and slay the same person because that person was trying to murder a room full of other people. Then it's the same act but a different motive. So a lot of the emphasis in the writings is your motives. Your motives for what you do are the things that you're apparently judged on in the next world.
Well, if a person can figure out that they indeed are a seeker, that something about the concepts of the Baha'i faith or concepts of religion strike a responsive chord within them, whether it's the concept of the common foundation of all religions, or the oneness of mankind, or the independent investigation of truth, and these kind of little resonant things go off, how do they find out more about the Baha'i faith? Where do they turn?
The phone book is one place. Most phone books in most cities, the Baha'i faith is listed as the Baha'i faith.
B-A-H-A-I.
Apostrophe I, yeah, B-A-H-A. It's actually, to make it more clear, it's Baha'i, Baha'i. Like Baha, B-A-H-A, apostrophe I, which means follower of Baha'i. So Baha'i faith is usually listed in all telephone books, either in the white pages, probably the white pages.
Mm-hmm. Or in the yellow pages under churches or religious organizations. You usually find it in the white pages. Yeah. What's a Baha'i fireside? Quite often people say, oh, you're interested in the Baha'i faith, you must come to a fireside. What?
A Baha'i fireside is designed to inspire the listener to read for himself about the Baha'i writings. It's also designed to know people, get to know people, to ask questions. You come to a fireside to, I think the format usually is a Baha'i will speak and let you know what he understands about the Baha'i faith, not claiming to be an authority, but just letting you know what he has read and what he knows about the Baha'i faith. Then there's a question and answer period where people ask any question that they have and where they can find out about it and so forth. And these are held in people's homes and in various places. And usually every night of the week somewhere. And if it's a major city, they try to have firesides as much as they can, as many times as they can. So, and it's very informal. There's no obligation of any kind.
No donations accepted.
No donations, and usually there's free goodies and food and stuff, So,
but one does not become a Baha'i because they like the cookies at the fireside, or even particularly like the Baha'is, or even the teachings of the faith, for that matter. A person becomes a Baha'i because they believe that Baha'u'llah is the messenger of God for this day. That Baha'u'llah is the promised one of God, whether they like it or not. And that to me, now personally speaking, that's how it was with me. When I first heard the Baha'i faith, I was not particularly interested. None of the teachings really struck a responsive chord until I became acquainted with the life and times and the deeds of the messenger of God. Then that's where the excitement came from. And it wasn't that people told me, I kept saying, well, what do Baha'is feel about this or about that? And I'd hear the answer, I go, so.
Yeah.
But it comes down to either he is or he is not. If he's not, then it doesn't make much difference. It's just all an interesting coincidence. If he is, then what are you going to do about it?
That's right. That's the bottom line. Is he or is he not? then if you believe he is, everything he says has something meaning to you. But if he's not, nothing he says means anything. That's the bottom line, you know. And this is his claim. He brought the principle: independent investigation of truth. Find out for yourself. Don't become a Baha'i because somebody else became a Baha'i, or don't believe it because somebody else believes it. Look into it for yourself. Make up your own mind. You know.
I believe it was Buddha who said, the truth is not a matter of opinion. The truth can be investigated and ascertained. I thought that was a great line.
I did.
Because quite often people think of religion being totally in the realm of personal opinion and personal viewpoint. That's why people won't discuss it. But historical fact is historical fact. When the words of the messenger are right there, where you can read them.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a big difference. This is one of the unique things about the Baha'i faith. In the first time in all of religious history, the writings have been written down by the hand of the Prophet himself. This protects it from breaking up into isms and sects, too. Of course, they've been translated into how many?
660, I think.
660 languages, and in Braille and every imaginable way. So they are definitely available to all.
Well, I think an important thing we should bring up is we're talking about there's a Baha'i viewpoint or a Baha'i teaching on virtually every subject. Jim, as a Baha'i and as a musician, what do you think of punk rock?
What has that got to do with it?
It's part of life.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know. I really don't know, because I tend with music and with artists to I pick out the songs that I like, and I pick out the times that I've seen them, the performances I like, and there's certain things that I like about them. I can't just generally say I like it or I don't like it. It depends on the song and the presentation.
Do you think as an artist listens to music differently than a fan does?
I believe so. I think especially if you've been recording and all those kind, once you get into that aspect of making records, you become aware of different instruments, how they react. And when you listen to a song on the radio, you listen maybe to a bass part or to a drum lick or the sound on a vocal or something. But you really have to be able to listen as a listener would listen and not be aware of those, and listen to the total thing as well as to analyze it from a technical standpoint.
So you in music, then your taste would be, shall we say, related somewhat to your religious views, in that if it's good, you go for it regardless of what the genre is of the music or what the form is.
Yeah, I think what we try to do is to pick out whatever is good in whatever we're listening to and enjoy that. And the things that end up having the most good in them and the things that, that make us, that move us in one way or another, we tend to buy those or to really collect them.
Do you guys ever listen to your own music? I mean, do you ever drive around the car and put in a cassette of your own tunes?
Not that much. Usually when we do an album, we'll listen for a while and then we'll leave it. And then we've always had to perform the songs on the stage then, and then you usually get into a little bit different presentation of it. And then maybe 2 or 3 years afterwards, you'll go back and you'll listen to certain cuts of it.
Yeah, it's like seeing a movie over and over and over. You after you've seen it so many times, then you go on, because during a recording you hear it literally thousands of times, and by the time it's released, then you want to hear it as a released product 2 or 3 times, and after that you're finished with it. I mean, you hear it on the radio, you perform it, you do this and that. So it's something you sort of take for granted, I guess, later on.
Do you ever go back and do a personal retrospective when there's been, say, several years between you and a piece of music, and kind of listen to your own progressive development?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. The time that you listen to it most is after you've been away from it for quite a while. Then you go back and you get a better perspective of the whole thing. We used to do that before we would go into another album. We would listen to past things and try to get a perspective and so forth.
Do you find that the songs that were the most popular, the ones that people responded to the most, are the ones that hold up the best over the years out of the albums?
Well, I think that our music in particular was different because it wasn't right in keeping with what was out at the time, and I think that's one of the reasons that we've endured so many years and still get airplay on those songs, is because that we created an art form within itself. It was a new kind of art form. It was the first time that the instruments, as we said earlier, had been used in this kind of music. And it was also the first time that any of the concepts of the Baha'i concepts had been taken and used in commercial songs. And so I think because of that combination of the heart and mind, a blend of the heart and mind, as it were, that it has endured, and there's really nothing you can compare some of the things on the albums to, even now.
You made a good statement a while ago when he asked you about punk. You said, I can't really go on a general thing. I have to go by the individual song, which is actually a Baha'i concept. You don't judge an overall situation from one, like you can't say the whole police force is bad because there's one bad cop. You know, you have to go individually. I thought that was a pretty good answer.
Each tune on each album and each individual artist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Much like people do with you. Listen to your albums and go, I don't like that
hate
song.
That.
Why do they play that one so much? Let's hear a different one.
Yeah, right. That's true. They usually completely wear them out on the radio. But
when you're recording, it's hard because you know it's hard to be objective. You don't realize what someone likes about one tune more than they do another. Sometimes because you're close to both of them and you're working on both of them, and it takes time. Then you sit back and you can see real clearly which ones do have the best qualities and that brings out the best of you.
You mentioned to me once that one of your favorite songs is Antoinette. Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Well, why is that one special to you?
It was just it has a different spirit, and it's a different song. I've never heard anything like it anywhere before or since.
It's mystical.
Every once in a while, you have songs like that are very different and very different from anything else that you have done yourself.
I haven't heard you do too many like the song "Purple Hand." I don't know if anyone is very familiar with that song. It's on their second album, and that is a very mystical sort of thing. Would you mind telling the story behind that about the common vision or whatever it was?
It was very strange. The reason that we recorded it is we thought, we've got to put this down. There must be some reason that we both had this experience. But we both had a more, I don't know whether you could call it a vision or not. Jimmy was sort of...
I was on a bus.
Yeah.
I'll tell him my half and I'll let him finish the story.
Baby.
I was on a bus coming from Inglewood, California to Hollywood, and Dash was in Hollywood asleep. It was about, early morning. And I was reading a Baha'i book called Paris Talks. And I put the book down and I looked up, and when I looked up, all of the people in the bus looked like children. And I could see the oneness of how everybody was in the same boat together. And all of a sudden, it was like a movie had taken place, and it was just a flash. It just lasted for a second, but the entire thing unfolded during that second. And it was that we were standing in a place like Palm Springs. And why we were out there, I don't know. Anyway, we were wandering out, kicking rocks or picking up things off the ground. I was facing the east, and Dash was facing the south. And so all of a sudden, the earth began to shake. And the dust began to blow, and things were blowing in the wind. And this fellow behind us to the east fell down on the ground and started to say the Lord's Prayer. And we heard this great rumble, and we looked toward Los Angeles. And there was a huge purple mountain that had shot up out of where Los Angeles was supposed to be. And it just shot up and started to spew rocks everywhere. And so we were standing there, and I said, "What is it?" And I was very afraid, and Dash wasn't afraid at all. It was a strange thing. It didn't even affect him. He said, "This is it." He said, "This is what we've been waiting for." He said, "This is the end of all war on earth." He said, "This is the beginning of the age of peace." And all this was taking place very rapidly. And so then the mountain turned into a big purple hand that was waving all over the whole earth.
Cast a shadow.
Yeah, and Dash looked at me and he said, "Look what your hands have wrought," because that was one of the lines out of the Baha'i Faith that Baha'u'llah had written about what he said. "Look what your hands have wrought," and then something hit us on the head, very hard, and our bodies dropped down to the ground. But we were suspended in air, and it was like having on all of your life having on a welder's helmet. You know how dark it is. And it being lifted off, and you can see so bright and clear for the first time. And so I turned to him to say something, and he was beginning on Star Trek, when they transferred from one
beam up.
Yeah, when they
Beam
go from
up,
one place
yeah.
to another, he began to disintegrate in front of me. And I looked at it and I said, "What is happening?" And he said, "Just relax and let it happen." And the same thing started happening to me. Well, every emotion that I had ever felt, total love, fear, pain, joy, ecstasy, everything hit me at once and just completely consumed me. And there we were in the air.
Floating through space.
Floating out through space with the smell of roses.
Yeah, we could smell flowers and a slight breeze on our face.
Now, this all took place in that second on the bus. This happened while I was awake. So I got to Marsh's house, our manager, where Dash was staying, and I went in there. I woke him up, and I was just in a sweat. I said, "Man, you're not going to believe what just happened to me." I said, "I got to tell you about this." And he got up. He'd been asleep, and he came in, and we sat down at the table and had our coffee. And I started telling him about it. And his eyes, you could have thrown a baseball in his mouth. He said, "And then I said to you, and you said to me this, and I said to you," and I said, "Yes." And I said, "Which way were you facing?" And he said, "South." "Which way were you facing?" And I said, "East." Everything that had happened to me while I was awake was the dream that he had just experienced in his sleep.
Yeah. And we figured it out. It was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Because you were on the way there, and I was asleep.
At the same time.
Not only that, the experience you had with the children on the bus happened to me the day before, coming back from Washington on the airplane. All the children, all the people looked like children to me. That then and for the whole rest of the day.
It was the strangest thing that we had ever experienced. And, we knew that nobody was going to believe us because things like that are only important really to the people they happen to.
You're the only one we've ever told this story to.
We don't like to tell it in public because, say, "See, you're religious crazies or something." Yeah, but it happened, and it was a beautiful and at the same time frightening experience. But I think our fear of death and things like that were removed to a great deal at that point. But after that, we said, well, we have to write a song about it anyway, and so we wrote the song Purple Hand.
I've tried to analyze it several times since it happened, and the only logical thing I can get out of it is that it showed us that death is not really so bad as we think it is, that it's really a change of existence, and that whatever we reap, we sow, it's, look what your own hands have wrought. Whatever you do, I mean, in other words, outwardly it's fire and vengeance, but inside it's mercy and love. I mean, things don't always look like they appear.
I think that after an experience like that, I would have written the song "Leave."
I think that's the same time that song was written.
Yeah.
No.
It's on the same album in any event.
No, not really. That was a good song. Jimmy wrote that.
"Gabriel, Go On Home" is another one perhaps I would have written after an experience like that.
Gabriel, Go On Home. That was a fun song to sing. Gabriel, Go On Home.
There it goes.
That was in the key of G, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how it goes?
Gabriel, Go On Home. Yeah.
Huh. Anything else?
Oh, excuse me, you woke me up. Just
Alan?
okay.
What else, Mr. Director, if you're still with us?
Wake up in there.
Wake up. Is it time to play the hits, or...
One more for me, please.
See the curtains hanging in the window in the evening on a Friday night. Little light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Okay.
Diamond Girl?
All right. Now I'll be playing a little bit softer now. Here I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's do another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Diamond girl, you sure do shine. Glad I found you. Glad you're mine. Oh, my love, you're like a precious stone, part of earth, heaven is rained on. Makes no difference where you are, day or night time. You're like a shining star, diamond girl. Now that I found you, well, it's around you that I am.
One more. One more for me.
Me too.
Let's see. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Diamond girl, you sure do shine. Glad I found you. Glad you're mine. Oh, my love, you're like a precious stone, part of earth, where heaven is rained on. Makes no difference where you are, day or night time. You're like a shining star. How can I shine without you when it's about you that I am? Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, I had.
Life, so they say, spun a game and let it slip away. Love, like the autumn sun, should be dying, but it's only just begun. Like the twilight in the road up ahead, they don't see just where we're going. All the secrets in the universe whisper in our ears.
One more for me, please.
Will come and go.
It's very hard to get all the dynamics in a tune like that.
Especially
With
with
just
your fingers
Does,
aching.
does Dash sound a little hot in there to you?
Could be.
No? Okay. Oh, I'm hearing a different mix. Oh,
yeah.
good. Okay.
Yeah, it's completely different in there.
let's do one more. Here we go.
Wait. Okay.
so they say. It's but a game and then let it slip away. Love, like the autumn sun, should be dying, but it's only just begun. Like the twilight in the road up ahead, they don't see just where we're going. All the secrets in the universe whisper in our ears, and all the years will come and go and take us up, always up. We may never. I think we should just do the first part of it because there's no, in other words, just go like.
Always up.
Huh?
Now let's go from there.
See, like the twilight. It just doesn't sound good though.
Well, that's the song though. That's the part they remember. Okay,
No.
yeah.
Let me just start right on it. Life, so they say, is but a game and then let it slip away. Love.
That blew me starting it that way because I wasn't ready for it.
Okay, let's do it the other way
Blew
then.
my mind.
Here we go.
I mean, you can you can do it that way as long as I know you're going to do it that way.
Okay, I'll just go one time. I'll go.
Okay.
Life, so they say, is but a game and then let it slip away. Love, like the autumn sun, should be dying, but it's only just begun. Like the twilight in the road up ahead, they don't see just where we're going. All the secrets in the universe whisper in our ears, and all the years will come and go and take us up, always up. We may never pass this way again. We may never pass this way again. We may never pass this way again.
Mental telepathy.
Real nice. Can you guys do any of Get Closer?
Get closer.
Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to love only me. I'm sorry.
Love only me.
I haven't tried it since the line I can't cross over. It's no good for me, and it's no good for you.
I'm feeling deep down inside me, and I can't explain it.
And you're wondering why. Lately we've been like strangers, but I'm not the others you can wrap around your finger. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. I don't know how we would do that. Let's do it again.
Take it from the top.
Okay, 3, here we go. 3, 4, I go. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to be closer get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to love only you, then love only me. Darling, if you want me to see only you, then see only me. Oh, there's a line I can't cross over. It's no good for me, and it's no good for you. And there's a feeling deep down inside me, and I can't explain it, and you're wondering why. Ooh, you say we've been like strangers, but I'm not the others you can wrap around your fingers. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Darling, if you want me to be closer to you, get closer to me. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, fine. Can you redo a little bit of Hummingbird for us to replace the previous track?
Okay, we'll just start right on the thing, okay? Because
Okay.
let's see. I'll go like this thing. Okay, here we go. 3, 4. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. In you I found a fragrance.
You have
All right.
right.
Here we go, one more time. 3, 4. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. In you I found a fragrance. I love you till I die. I just love you, love you, love you. I don't even know the reason why. Now, hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. Hummingbird, don't fly away, fly away. The sweetness of your nectar has drawn me like a fly. I just love you, love you, love you. I don't even know the reason why. Now, hummingbird, don't fly away, don't fly away. Hummingbird, don't fly away, don't fly away.
Yeah.
Kind of rough.
Yeah. Close enough for government work.
You want bits and pieces of these?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have to do the whole song. How about, can you do any of the following? My Fair Share, You're the Love, or King of Nothing?
Lost is
King of Nothing.
first thought.
See, King of Nothing.
I don't remember that one.
When I was 17, I dreamed of being king and having everything I wanted. I wanted.
Yeah.
Let's see, having everything I wanted. Let's see, I wanted it. But now let's see.
I forget the lyrics.
Me too. Anybody got a lyric sheet?
No, I can't do any of those.
You can't do any of those.
What was the other one you said?
Well, I can just use a little snippet of that to show your good intentions. Sound like you're having fun at any event.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're the love, anything of that? Or you need a drum for that?
My Fair Share we never played, so we could sing it a cappella. What is it?
Love, you came to my rescue.
What is it?
I knew the moment I met you. Lonely and I was crying. Hurt and I felt like dying.
I don't know.
Ooh, you're the love, you're the love, you're the love in my heart and soul. You're the dream, you're the dream, you're the dream in my life.
Oh, yeah.
You're the way, you're the way, you're the way that my feelings flow. Oh, my love knows you.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't really. I never played on the guitar before.
Did you get that down?
Let's do My Fair Share.
I can't do that either.
A cappella. Lost is the child. I'll play drums.
Let's do one of the ones that we can play though.
Okay, let's go through some of the what songs do you know? How about
None.
One Platinum, One People Please?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the. Okay. I'll see. I got to change my setting here.
Oh, jeez.
What key is the damn thing? Oh, here we go. Sorry.
Here we go.
Start.
3, 4.
One more. I'm sorry.
1, 2, 3.
Strong is the light of unity. You can light the world.
I can't do it. I can't play it. Not on this guitar, and this thing is so hard to play that I just have to really. I mean, you don't know what it's like to try to play this damn thing.
Do you have a cat gut with you?
What about something else, maybe a little easier?
Okay, let's go through the list here. What else have we got?
Strong is the light of unity. You can light the world for you, for me. So why don't we?
I'll do it like that. I'll do it down there. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time for me, please. 1, 2, idiot.
Strong is the light.
Let me do one more. I can't play this thing.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Strong is the light of unity. You can light the world for you and for me. So why don't we reach out and be one planet, one people, please. One planet, one people, please. One planet, one people, please. Please let it be. Please
I haven't played this long. It's terrible. Let me do it one more time.
Just that one verse.
Let's see. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Strong is the light of unity. It can light the world for you and for me. So why don't we reach out and be one planet, one people, please. One planet, one people, please. One planet, one people, please. Please let it be.
I left out my vocal part.
No one knows.
No
How about
one
Forever Like the Rose?
Just the first part, okay?
Okay.
Forever like the rose, I suppose that's the way to be. Fresh and ever growing, always showing lots of beauty to the world. I know it's not an easy task. All I ask is that you try. Try for me, be like the flower within its hour of final glory. Open up and let the sunshine touch your heart and show the world what you can be if you are free. Free to grow, free to grow, forever like the rose. Do-do-do, 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 do-do-do.
I must have a cigarette.
I must have a vice.
He's got blisters on his fingers.
Yeah.
How about Ruby Jean and Billy Lee?
Oh, Rick. I don't know if I remember that song.
I don't think so. You can play that on the record.
You know, any licks or any just, I mean, because the thing is, if I splice these things in and we're talking, it just sounds like in the middle of the conversation, one of you just plays a few licks from
Yeah.
it on the,
See, Ruby Jane Ballet Lay.
Well, all this tuning and stuff like this, you can keep on the. I don't know anything else to do.
Is there some little part of that you can
Yeah,
sing?
yeah. As I say, if you just do it, it's a little bit of it. So it just sounds like we're sitting around here and you're playing little bits and pieces of songs.
Say, oh, Marcia Day.
Okay, I'll try a little bit. Boy.
Oh, Ruby Jean, last night I dreamed I was running somewhere beyond the stars. I called out to you and you answered softly. You are the children's eyes, and I'm the days gone by. Oh, Billy Lee, it's destiny that we meet again here on this earthly plane. See all the world's with you, but you'll have to help me through. You are the straight and narrow path, and I'm the wayfarer. We'll have children of the kingdom. They won't be torn by war, nor will they kill or hate or hesitate.
Can't do that. Can't. We haven't done it in
I was
years.
just about ready to hit that time.
Oh, your heart's in the right place.
Let's do one more.
My earphone went out on the right side. So.
Let's just do. Let's see. We're torn by war, nor will they hesitate or let's see. What was the lyric?
You're too far down. Say, we'll have children. Start right there.
We'll have children of the kingdom. They won't be torn by war, nor will they hesitate,
kill
or
or
hate, or hesitate to love. Instead of going up here to that other one, why don't we just do the other one?
Okay, and then let's go out.
Kill. How is the
We'll have children. Will we?
kingdom? They won't be torn by war, nor will they hesitate,
Kill or
hate, or hesitate to love. Oh, let's do it.
Okay.
Old Ruby Jean, last night I dreamed I was running somewhere beyond the stars. I called out to you, and you answered softly. You are the children's eyes, and I'm the days gone by.
Oh, Billy Lee, it's destiny that we meet again here on this earthly plane. I'm sorry. I blew it because I started to play and it blew me. Okay, good. I'm glad there was a reason. Hold it.
Okay, we're just going to hit some notes here just before we go, like we're tuning, and to give you a little easier. Are you ready, comrade?
Ready. Teddy.
Oh, Ruby Jean, last night I dreamed I was running somewhere beyond the stars. I called out to you, and you answered softly. You are the children's eyes, and I'm the days gone by.
Oh, Billy Lee, it's
destiny that we meet again here on this earthly plane. I see all the world with you. You'll have to help me through. You are the straight and narrow path, and I'm the wayfarer. We'll have children of the kingdom. They won't be torn by war, nor will they kill or hate or hesitate to love.
How about that?
Chile.
It's not used to the pressure, see?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Heavy pressure. Do you remember anything at all? Just little musical references to, say, Antoinette or See My Life or...
We're going to do a little bit of See My Life, I think.
See my life.
Let me get my other pick.
See my life.
See... how we used to go. Let's see. I go see.
Wait. See my life.
As it was yesterday. See my life. It was today. Take my hand and I will show you. Within the moment lies the mystery.
See my life.
How do you want to end it?
I can't remember the chorus.
The E minor?
See my life. It was yesterday. See my life. Show you. Then
The moment lies a mystery. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Though you rush to and fro to attain, though you dwell upon the shore of history, the voice you should have heard is in a letter of the word. Come with me to bridge and you'll see. See my life as it was yesterday. See my life as it was today. Take my hand and I will show you. Within the moment lies a mystery.
Nice.
Chile. That's pretty
Let's
good.
see. Any other musical references we can throw in? I'll just remember some titles and see if you remember any of them at all. All right. Earth. Earth.
No, not really. It's,
I know it was E and A.
I don't remember all the chords. See, I used to do all the chords behind the thing. Let's see.
Sea of Conscience.
Oh, Sea of Conscience.
I can't play it. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. 3, 4. In the sea of consciousness, I knew you. In the sea of consciousness, you love me, love me, love me. But this world is a dark one with a black sun can run to. You
too
Am I
late?
too late to go?
See, oh God,
Yes, am I too late to go? Then we went. Hey, you want to go on the road? All right.
That's the
Let's
first
do it
song we
one
ever
time.
did, man.
Let's do it. One,
Wait a minute.
two. Oh,
Let's
sorry.
see. There's a.
Can you hear it now?
Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. What's this
There.
chord? Dun, dun,
C major 7.
In the black dark world with the black sun, can I run to you?
E major.
You, perfection's perfectness, have the mercy in which we all came to know you so long ago. Am I too late to go? Seeing consciousness, am I too late to go?
No, you hold out.
Oh, yeah, hold it out.
You hold it. Let's say, see, you consciousness, am I too late to go?
Let's do it. Let's try it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Oh, let's do one more.
I just-
Yeah, I did the intro. I go.
All right, yeah.
In the sea of consciousness, I knew you. In the sea of consciousness, you love me, love me, love me. But this world is a dark world with a black sun. Can I run to you? And you, perfection's perfectness, have the mercy in which we all came to know you so long ago. Am I too late to go? See consciousness,
Am I too late to go? That is totally amazing.
Been many moons since we did this song.
Mini moon. 13 to be exact. That was one of the first songs you ever did. You wrote that in the car.
We were talking about Gabriel Go On Home. Do you remember that?
We
at
could
all?
do a little bit of that, I guess.
My mind begins. Oh,
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
my mind begins to wander way back yonder. I recall the day Dulce stood on the porch and said to me, "Be careful of the world and all." She knew much more than I thought, But I was young, too young to know. Now I have seen too much too soon, and somewhere, somehow, something's gonna go. Keep below your face is red. Be careful you hurt your head and wind up dead, like the world has lost its ease and eyes. Is it wise to sympathize when harmony has been kicked in the knee, and sour notes are singing the sad, sad song? Gabriel, won't you go on home, home? Gabriel, won't you go on home? Gabriel, won't you go on home, home? Gabriel, won't you go on home?
Nice. Hey, you remember that one?
Revised versions here. We're using a lot of mental telepathy.
Spiritual communication.
Right.
Do you remember the music to Hollow Reed at all?
Just the intro. Can we play the intro?
Go right ahead.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That's about all.
That was real nice. An all-time favorite.
I forgot. See.
What about Ancient of the Old? Remember that one?
No, this one of those goes. Do, 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 do,
Christmas baking morning.
It's just kind of thing like that, you know, where you have to have kind
It's kind of hard to do Cottonmouth without a cigarette lighter and an organ.
Yeah.
We played that very sparsely, is how we played that song. I used to play that on piano, electric guitar, bass, and what did you play? Fiddle or
Oh, what one?
Cottonmouth?
No, I used to just play on this there. We do it on the stage just like it. I just. Red-eyed mama keeps crying, blue-eyed cat keeps lying. Let's see. Cottonmouth, Cottonmouth will keep on winding. Sing. We just do like. We do a thing like that. I don't know, I forget what chord I played, but he would play something on the mandolin.
Yeah, he used a fuzz box. On
Yeah, and Bobby Lighty would be playing. He was playing the bass, and we had a tambourine hooked up to a foot pedal, and he would play that at the same time. And all of us, we were doing licks with our hands and sounds, you know. Dun, dun, dun.
There's 16 parts and 3 guys. Yeah.
You know, just any little percussion things that we could do to make up for the orchestra we didn't have.
Yeah.
Here's one that's in. Things like that, you know.
That's the first rock and roll mandolin solo.
Yeah.
That was fun.
You did that on acoustic too.
Yeah, it was on acoustic. Now, that was what was really unique about the thing, I think, is nobody expected that. Neither did we, as a matter of fact. That was a great.
Dash was the first one to ever play one of those electric mandolins. They made it for him. He was a pioneer of that instrument.
Did they name it after you?
No, I wish they had. I tell you, I'm really getting into some B.B. King stuff with it now. It's a lot of fun. It's just like playing a guitar.
Except
I don't
it's tuned
play
different.
guitar. Yeah.
I'm waiting for jazz ukulele.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to record or put down here as long as we're here?
No, I think that's about it.
That's about it. Oh, yeah, I got to do a couple of promos. And thank you very much, gentlemen, for taking time out of your busy schedule to play the hits.
Well,
Okay,
you
well.
are quite welcome. You will get the bill.
Huh? You're now rolled.
Hi. Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And this is Dash Crofts.
Hold on a second, just take the echo off.
And this is Burl Bullock. No, sorry.
And you say, I'll say, and we're rocking.
We're rocking and rolling and remembering.
Remember.
Okay. We're rocking, and rolling.
Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And this is Dash Crofts.
And we're rocking.
And rolling
And
remembering. You mother you.
Would you mind doing one for me, just like that, same sort of thing? Just I'm Jim Seals and Dash Crofts with Burl Bear on Old Gold 77.
Old Gold 77.
Okay.
77?
Yeah, Old Gold 77 KXA.
Huh.
Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And this is Dash Crofts.
With Burl Bear on Old Gold 77.
KAJ.
KXA.
Okay, let's do that.
Can you learn how to say that? Can you learn how to say KXA? Can you say it like that?
KXA.
All right. Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And this is Dash. Wait.
Got you there. Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And Dash Crofts.
With Burl Bear on Old Gold 77.
What is the K?
KXA.
I knew it was going to
KXA.
get it. Okay.
On
Okay.
K-
You want to write that down?
Wait a minute. This is old. This is Jim Seals Dash Crofts on Old Gold 77.
Yeah.
KXA. I don't know why I can't remember. KXA.
Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And Dash Crofts.
With Burl Bear on Old Gold 77.
KXA. Gee, did I cuck my K? Okay.
She said one more time.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Jim Seals.
And Dash Crofts.
With Burl Bear on Old Gold 77.
KXA. Hey, think I could be a DJ?
Yeah, I think so. Groovy guys and gals, 75 charge, 100 degrees, the reason for the K, eh?
Nobody
What
can do
did
it
you
like
want?
Burl.
Ellen?
Just say hi to Nikki, my hairdresser. This is really important.
Hi, this is Dash Crofts, Nicky. Falling asleep at San Fernando.
Hey, baby.
But
I mean, Nikki.
tricky, Nicky.
I mean, dig this, honey. I mean, you are so cold.
And I'm popping my peas.
I mean, it's just so spacey. Hey, man, you know, it's real tubular.
Tubular.
Tubular?
It's illuminating. It's really tubular.
Darling, you are simply scintillating.
God. Simply. Okay, do we have any
Anything else?
Pollock jokes?
I think we're all washed up in this industry.
Hey, Burl, go wash up, get your check, and get out.
Well, Chef,
Alan
get
has
you
been known for having
check.
industrial strength gas.
I think we are finished. We're through all right.